only way to get what you want is to become a human yourself. Hey, what is up, guys? Okay, so I am still tripodless, but I wanted to make a video today because I just don't want to let y'all down. The lighting in my bathroom is actually pretty phenomenal, so I have like this mirror, kind of like that. So I figured I would use this opportunity. I also have some, oh shit! I also have some shit I have to take care of today, so I figured I would use this as an opportunity to get ready and talk about some shit. So I'm gonna wash my face and get started. Before I do, hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up to continue making videos. Now, if you were feeling at any point in time in this video that you were lopsided, that is because you are. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that literally nobody has asked me about, but it doesn't really differ from any of the other topics that are on my channel. Halsey recently came out as she and they pronouns and has been receiving a lot of support, and I think she should. I don't think that you should not support how people identify themselves. I guess I just have to say I don't really get it. Not that it is for me to get, and not that I would ever disrespect somebody by, if, you know, someone's name was Lauren and I met them and I, you know, instinctually just called them she, and they corrected me and said, oh no, I go by the pronouns they and them. Fuck it up, fam. Like, I will call you they and them. But when it comes to like the political correctness of all of it that I feel like is affecting other people, you know, as a woman of the trans lineage, I feel like I have some opinions about it. Now, I don't know very much about the gender non-binary topic. In fact, I'm quite ignorant to it. So you can use this opportunity in the comment section to educate me on it. Here's what I do know. I do know about changing my aesthetics and getting a reaction from the general public that match my insides a little bit better. I also know what a struggle it was getting there, and how all the social skills that I had acquired in my social tool belt had became rendered useless when I went from a gay male into a woman in society. I also know the only person who really cared about how I identified with are those that I was sleeping with and myself. And other than that, it kind of just became a boring topic for everybody involved. Like, genuinely and wholeheartedly, nobody cared. God, this is actually getting quite difficult, that the only way you guys are being held up is through a Listerine bottle. And the beautiful thing about human beings is that we are so multi-dimensional. You can't really compartmentalize. Ooh, my mouth don't go like that. Again, I guess I just don't understand this grand declaration of, you know, that you cannot be boxed into something that isn't really well defined. I saw a TikTok, certain wristbands on her hand, which told you which, like, gender to call her depending on what color they were. And I was like, yeah, sis, I'm gonna have to tell you what, that's really exhausting for me. You are out to change the world, right? And change how everybody else does something. You have to come up with a concept that is either equal or greater than the one previous to it, right? Hitler had a lot of ideas that he thought could make the world a better place, and some people protested it. I'm not comparing gender non-binary people to Hitler, but there are some undeniable similarities. No, I'm just playing. I'll take that out and edit. But what I am saying is that if you want to change the language and how people work on things, not just exclusive to you, it would have to be universally and undoubtedly better than the one that was used prior. One of the problems I have with it is that it is now affecting the general public who want to be woke. I went to a dance class, and when I had mentioned that I was trans, like everything was fine. And then I mentioned that I'm trans, and she's like, oh, you could tell she got really excited, bless her heart. She got really excited and was like, oh, which pronouns do you prefer? That was really triggering for me as a trans girl. I was like, see, okay. No. I did not spend, 6 years of my life understanding the binary and complying with it to now live in a world where people are going to completely disregard it and cause me to have dysphoria. A lot of gender non-binary people that I've seen online, because I really don't know any in my private life, to be honest with you, have also said that they don't experience dysphoria. And so I'm just like, well then why? Why are you making someone who does have dysphoria's life inconvenient then? I also take issue with the fact that if I don't comply with this, that I just genuinely do not understand, that I'm somehow removing them from the trans movement. And I hear a lot of trans women say, oh, they're making us look bad for the general public. And I'm like, sis, they equally hate all of us. We're all faggots and we're all going to hell to them. Again, being someone of the LGBT community, I definitely agree with respecting the way people want to identify themselves, But you have to look at what works, what doesn't work. Do you see how often people talk about Jeffree Star? And I feel like he would be the original non-binary back from the MySpace days, if you're old like me. And do you see how often people talk about his gender? Hardly ever. Do you see him talk about his gender? Hardly ever. And if he shaves his head, if he grows his hair out long, nobody really cares, because he is just identifying as himself. When you choose to identify with a certain category and then you kind of, it just becomes a little ornery, For me, I would like to be around people that just don't really stress me out all the time. I'm just at that age. I'm just that old lady that's like, hey, get off my lawn. You're not making my life if I have to worry about offending you all the time, I'm probably not gonna want to be around you. And then I don't want you to feel like, oh, it's because I'm gender non-binary that people don't like me or I'm disrespected. It's no, fam, it's because you're being a little ornery. You know what I mean? It just simply comes off as a little entitled and a little bit of a victim narrative. It's if you want to live your life the way that you want, and you should be able to, you have to do it unapologetically. You can't force people to comply into the way you want to live your life, because essentially when you do that, you're asking for their permission. And if you're asking people to validate you and how you're choosing to live your life, you're going to be going around the world asking a lot more questions than giving more answers, which is no way to live your life. I think if that's the way you choose to live your life, prepare yourself. I had to prepare how life was going to be for me after when I transitioned and I realized that the jokes I told as a gay male were now inappropriate and that the way that people treated me were going to be different. I kind of had to learn how it was going to be and had to base my life with accepting that, as opposed to saying that it was unfair. It is what it is and it ain't what it ain't. I took a long look in the mirror and I was like, if this is my reality, if this is something I'm going to have to deal with, Do I still want to go down this route? And the answer was yes, because it was true to me. You can't tell people how to live their life to make you more comfortable. You know, if you are gender non-binary and that is just who you are and you do it unapologetically, and you have to be fully prepared that when you are out and about, people are going to assume a gender, because that's just how life is. That's how society is currently built. And until you come up with a practice that is universally better for everybody, you're gonna have to understand that that's just the world you live in, and you can't be offended when someone assumes your gender. Because at the end of the day, yeah, wanting the 99.7% of the population to rearrange their life to better you, and it's just not gonna happen. It is a losing war. If you make that decision that you are the way that you are, and you're prepared to go out into the world, because it causes, you know, problems for you if people do not call you they or them. Be prepared to explain that to people, that if they're all like, hey, she, he, and you're like, hey, actually I go by they, they'll probably slip up, but you're gonna find that the majority of people are respectful enough that they're going to try to accommodate that, you know? But you're making it a situation that obviously is a big deal to you. You know, your gender identity is a big thing for you. But again, straight people just don't really like deal with it. Like, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't for them. And so you sitting down and jumping down their throat and being like, you need to call me this because it causes all of that. It's like, their eyes just like kind of glaze over. They're just like, oh my God, dude, you could sit here and talk to me about solar panels and I will show you the same amount of interest. It's just boring. I don't want to live in a world where I have to, like, the server asks what pronouns I prefer before she takes my order. Just want to give them my order. In conclusion, I'd say live your life. Live your life unapologetically and allow others to do the same. It's not that big of a deal. Like, Kim, people are dying. Shit. And that is it for me today, guys. If you like the video, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I make content pretty regularly. Until next week, I'm Charlotte on the web, and I'm gonna miss you guys so much.